Take a deep breath for a moment. Slow down. Let your shoulders relax. If your chest feels tight right now, you're not imagining it. If a name quietly crossed your mind, there's a reason. Someone who once walked away is thinking about you tonight. Not casually, not randomly, but because regret has finally grown louder than pride. Some connections don't end. They go silent. They want a call. And sometimes silence returns with a phone call, and what they're about to say won't just surprise you. It will change how you see the past forever. Stay with me. Tonight feels different, doesn't it? There's a strange heaviness in the air, the kind that shows up before something changes. You tell yourself it's just another night, but your heart won't believe it because somewhere someone who once walked away from you is restless tonight. They've been quiet for a long time. They went far. They left you standing alone with unanswered questions. And now, after all this time, they want to call, not to say hello, not to check in, but to finally speak the words they were too afraid to say before. What they'll say won't just surprise you, it will change the way you see the past and yourself forever. Stay with me. This story might be yours. Part 1. The night they can't ignore you anymore. You didn't notice it at first, but tonight something feels off. They've tried to distract themselves, scrolling, talking, keeping busy. But none of it worked, because when the world finally quieted down, you came back into their mind, not as a memory, but as a feeling. They're sitting there right now, holding their phone, staring at the screen longer than they should. Your name is still saved the same way. Your number is still there, untouched, but never forgotten. You were the one they thought they could walk away from, the one they believed would always be there if they ever needed you again. So they left without explaining, without closing the door properly, without realizing what silence would cost them. And you carried the weight of that silence alone. You questioned yourself. You replayed conversations. You wondered what you did wrong even when you did nothing at all. But tonight, regret is louder than their pride. Tonight, the distance they created finally feels real. Tonight, they understand something painful. Walking away didn't make them free. It made them lonely. And now they're standing at a crossroads. Press call or live with the regret forever. If they call tonight, it's because the truth inside them can no longer stay quiet. Part 2. What they've been holding back all this time. If they call tonight, it won't be easy for them to speak. Their voices will hesitate, not because they don't know what to say, but because they know exactly what they should have said long ago. They've been carrying words inside them for months, maybe years. Words swallowed every time. They thought, it's too late now. Words were pushed down when pride felt safer than honesty. They want to tell you they were wrong, wrong for leaving without explaining, wrong for choosing distance instead of communication, wrong for assuming you'd understand their silence. But here's the truth. They're only realizing now. You didn't need silence, you needed reassurance. They've replayed moments with you in their head, your patience, the way you listened, the way you stayed calm even when you were hurting. They see it clearly now. You weren't asking for too much. You were asking for effort. And the hardest part for them, knowing you gave what they didn't know how to return. If they call, expect pauses. Expect their words to come out slowly, imperfectly. Expect emotion they never allowed themselves to feel before, because this isn't a casual call. This is a confession, a release, a moment where fear finally steps aside for truth. And the question that keeps them awake tonight is this: will you still recognize them now that they finally see you? Part 3. The moment the call finally comes. If you're still here, understand this. Not everyone is meant to hear this message. This is for the ones who felt something shift inside after part 1. Because this connection is not ordinary. When the phone finally rings, time doesn't move the same way. Your heart knows before your mind does. There's a pause, that quiet second where everything you've buried starts to rise. You look at the screen and there it is, the name you taught yourself not to expect anymore. Your hand hesitates, not because you don't want to answer, but because answering means reopening something you barely learned to survive without. You pick up for a moment. Neither of you speaks. You can hear their breathing. They can hear yours. And in that silence, everything that was never said is suddenly present. Their voice sounds different, softer. careful, like someone who finally understands what they almost lost. They don't start with excuses. They don't pretend nothing happened. They say your name slowly, as if saying it out loud again might hurt. Then they admit it. They ran when things felt real. They didn't know how to stay. They confused distance with control, silence with strength. And here's the part that shakes them most. You're not begging anymore. You're not explaining yourself. You're not trying to be understood. You've grown. They hear it in your calm, in the way you don't rush to fill the silence, in the way you're no longer asking them to choose you. And suddenly they realize this call isn't about getting you back. It's about facing the version of you they never deserved back then. Part 4. What they realize too late. After the call ends, the silence feels different. Not empty, heavy. They sit there staring at the screen, replaying your voice in their head. Not the words, but calm. That calm, that unsettles them more than anger ever could, because they expected pain. They expected questions. They expected you to still be waiting right where they left you. But you weren't, and that's when it hits them. You didn't pause your life when they walked away. You felt the pain. You cried when no one saw. You questioned your worth in the quiet, and then slowly you healed. They realized something painful and beautiful at the same time. You became stronger without them. That version of you on the phone, that's someone who learned to stand alone, someone who no longer needs closure to breathe, someone who doesn't chase what doesn't choose them. And suddenly they understand the cost of leaving, not just losing you, but losing the chance to grow with you. They see now that love isn't just a feeling you visit when it's convenient. It's a responsibility, a presence, a choice made daily. And the truth they can't escape tonight is this: you didn't change because you stopped loving. You changed because you learned to love yourself. That realization stays with them long after the call ends, because some lessons arrive late and stay forever. Part 5. What the call changes forever. What they don't realize at first is this: the call didn't change you. It changed them. Because while they were deciding whether to be brave enough to call, you were learning how to live without answers. While they were holding on to pride, you were learning how to let go of hope that hurt. The truth is, the call wasn't meant to bring you back together. It was meant to bring clarity. Clarity that you were never too much. Clarity that your love was real. Clarity that silence wasn't your failure. It was their fear. And now, standing on the other side of that conversation, you finally understand something powerful. You don't need them to choose you anymore. You already did. If they grow, if they show up, if they fight for you, you'll see it clearly. And if they don't, you won't beg, chase, or explain again. Because you've crossed a line you can't cross. You learned that love should never feel like waiting in the dark. The call didn't reopen your wounds. It closed them. If this story feels familiar, take a slow breath. You're not weak for feeling deeply. You're human. Some people come back to apologize. Some come back to remind us how far we've grown. And some come back too late, not to hurt us, but to free us. If someone from your past crossed your mind while listening to this, that's okay. You're allowed to remember without returning. You're allowed to feel without reopening doors. Before you leave, write this in the comments: I choose peace over confusion. And if this story touched your heart, stay with me. Subscribe, because the next video might say the words your soul has been waiting to hear. You didn't lose them. You found yourself.